Hello, my name is Stephen Baker and I'm a PhD candidate at the John Richards Initiative. I would like to start by acknowledging my fantastic supervisors, Professor Jenny Warburton, Dr. Suzanne Hodgkin and Dr. Jan Pascal. I would also like to publicly thank Lewis Dutton, a La Trobe social work student who has been acting as a research assistant during his student placement. And finally, I'd like to acknowledge all of the fantastic participants in my research project. Today I'm going to be presenting some initial findings from one of the two stages of my research project. I'm going to begin by giving a brief overview of the project and a snapshot of the participants' characteristics before looking at a number of themes that have emerged during the data collection phase and my preliminary thoughts about these issues. The Supportive Network project is examining the use of internet and communications technology by staff and clients of a Bendigo-based homeless services organisation, Haven Home Safe, or HHS. The stage of the project that I would like to speak with you about today involves a small number of elderly clients of the service. These participants are aged between 58 and 80 and have a history of homelessness, social isolation, and multiple and complex needs, a kind of catch-all phrase that encompasses substance abuse, physical and mental health issues. The project examines the potential use of tablet computers by the participants as a means of connecting with their caseworkers between visits, building online social connections, and connecting with local services and supports. The project is using an action research methodology. Action research was chosen as it encouraged participation from researcher, client, and worker participants. One other advantage of the action research methodology was its iterative research spiral, which incorporates planning, action, and reflection. This has allowed the research to adapt as it progressed through each iteration, and I feel that this is a key advantage of this research methodology during the data collection phase. The participants are all clients of the Assertive Outreach team at HHS and are living independently. 7 clients of the program, 2 female and 5 male, were chosen to be participants in the project, having expressed an interest after reading the participant information statement. Only 2 of the participants have ever used a computer of any type before the project, and both these participants have subsequently developed an acquired brain injury. These 2 participants, coincidentally the only female participants, are also the only ones with a secondary school education. 5 of the participants live in the Greater Bendigo area, 1 in Castlemaine and 1 in Rushworth. Only 3 participants live within 20 kilometres of where they were born, and all but 1 participant was born in Australia. 4 of the participants have histories of itinerant work interspersed with periods of homelessness and/or time spent in jail. 3 participants are currently experiencing substance abuse issues, and all but 1 participant have ongoing serious physical health issues, including cancer, hepatitis, and COPD. 4 of the participants also have diagnosed mental illnesses. Beginning in the middle of June, participants were issued with cellular network-connected iPad tablet computers. I have subsequently been meeting with each participant in their homes on a regular basis, establishing familiarity with the devices, developing computer literacy, and trialling a range of initiatives aimed at building communication and social connectedness. The research project is currently entering the last month of data collection, and it is therefore too early to discuss the key findings in any detail. However, even at this early stage, there are a number of preliminary findings that I believe are of interest. One of the first things I'm asked whenever I discuss the participant group and the project is, how do I know that the participants will not simply sell the iPads or break them? I can report that since data collection began in June, there has been no loss or damage of iPads. In fact, one of the minor frustrations has been convincing the participants that the iPads are sturdy enough to be taken with them when they leave the house. Participants are very protective about their iPads and have often gone to great lengths to tell me how well they're looking after them. Several participants have also told me that there are certain acquaintances who they would never show their iPad to in fear that they might damage or steal it. Given the financial and health issues faced by the participant group, one early observation has been that the iPad has been useful as what I am calling a virtual time machine. In the early stages of data collection, I spent time with each participant demonstrating the capabilities of the device. During this period, I demonstrated the ability to find information on the internet by asking each participant about a place for which they have fond memories. Some have chosen a family home, a favourite pub, or a landmark from their childhood. Using Google Street View, I was able to show them their digital memory. This had quite a profound effect on many participants. Several cried as they saw family homes that they had not seen since leaving home at an early age. Seeing the place and being able to explore in 360 degrees also allowed the participants to tell their story about their significant place. These early experiences helped to build resolve with the participants to learn to use the iPad, even though many were very daunted by the idea, and I feel that this technique would be valuable to others working with older participants. All of the participants are now using their iPads to communicate with their support worker. A range of communication methods are being used based on the preferences and abilities of the participants. 4 of the participants communicate with their worker using email. However, only 1 is doing so on a regular basis. 4 of the participants are using the iPad's Messages application, which is capable of sending both SMS-style messages as well as audio messages. 2 participants are now using this method as their primary communication method with their worker, and it is the only means of communication for 1 participant, as he does not have access to a phone. 2 of the remote participants, one in Castlemaine, which is 40 kilometres from HHS, and the other in Rushworth, which is 80 kilometres away, are using Apple's FaceTime video conferencing technology to connect with their worker. The Castlemaine participant has chosen this medium due to his preference for speaking face-to-face. However, the Rushworth participant uses this approach as severe cataracts limit his ability to use other options. A secondary benefit of this approach for both participants is that they are able to have more regular contact with their worker, weekly rather than monthly, as the worker is not reliant on booking the limited vehicles available for home visits. Several participants are successfully using the iPad to strengthen social connections with family and friends. One participant has used Facebook to reconnect with his estranged daughter who lives in Melbourne. While the relationship is still strained, the participant is actively involved in communication with his daughter, and this has also resulted in subsequent connections via mobile phone. He also appreciates using Facebook to see recent photos and status updates from his daughter without having to necessarily engage with her. This participant has also used his iPad to find information about his birth parents and is considering applying for information about them online. Another participant is using Facebook, email and the Messages app to reconnect with her daughter in Melbourne and also an elderly friend who also has an iPad. This friend in particular has been actively supporting and encouraging the participant to use her device to communicate, and this has served as a great incentive for her to learn to use the device. This participant has many issues which prevent her from spending time outside, and the ability to share photos and communicate using the device has significantly improved her quality of life. Another interesting observation, linked to the client's participants' access to new forms of communication, is the ability to contact their caseworker and myself as a researcher outside of traditional business hours. HHS staff take their iPads home at the end of the day for use for relaxation and entertainment. Several clients have used the messaging and video conferencing features of the iPad to attempt to make contact with workers outside business hours. There are several ways to think about this. On the one hand, it gives clients the power to raise issues whenever they arise, and this has the potential to increase their power within the social service sector. On the other hand, it presents a challenge to accepted norms about hours of business and separating work from home life. As an illustration, the photo on this slide is a screenshot taken from my mobile phone of a client's interactions via the Messages app. The time is 5:18 a.m, and you can see that the first message was sent 21 minutes earlier at 4:57 a.m. You can imagine how thrilled my wife was to be married to a researcher on this particular morning. Social networking platforms such as Twitter also give clients the potential to flatten the corporate structure of social service agencies by communicating directly to CEOs and other senior management. And this also presents challenges and, I believe, opportunities for service providers, although we have not explored this yet in the research project. A final early finding, and one of the great challenges faced so far, relates to the technical issues that have acted as barriers to engagement with the device. Of particular concern has been the system messages which periodically interrupt the user. These messages have completely thrown participants with no previous experience with computers and have at times convinced them that they have broken the device, resulting in usage stopping until the next face-to-face session. The release of Apple's new operating system in September resulted in more confusion as participants were presented with constant messages asking them to update. As the participants do not have broadband access, this resulted in delays due to excessive data usage and confusion. Finally, changes to Telstra's prepaid credit system and mobile access issues also acted as significant barriers for participants. During the data collection phase of the project, these issues are able to be addressed fairly quickly as the participants are meeting with the researcher regularly. However, once the project is completed, these vulnerabilities have the potential to seriously impact on the usability of the device. That concludes my presentation today. I'd like to express my thanks to Haven Home Safe for allowing me to conduct the research, and I look forward to continuing the data collection and presenting more conclusive findings in the future. Thank you.